Hello everybody, Tate Davis here with a quick little vlog rant for you. So 5 stinker albums by 5 bands that I like. This is just a rant I just thought of at the top of my head. So I'm just gonna give you 5 bands real quick and then I'll tell you what stinker album I thought of. That first one came to mind. This is one of many. These are 5 of many. I could do a part 2 of this, but just real quick here. Starting off with number 1, Uriah Heep, Conquest from 1980. Now, the band were coming off the heels of the 3 John Lawton era albums, and after that he was fired from the band. And John Lawton was a great singer, a totally different singer than David Byron, but he definitely worked for the material that Ken Hensley was writing at the time. And they end up getting a guy named John Sloman to replace him, and I was just listening to that album this morning, and I'm like, it's not good. Ken Hensley was obviously lazy, starting to become lazy with the songwriting, and I didn't feel like Sloman's voice really fit with the material, and a lot of the other band members at the time were kind of angry that Ken was getting all the songs on the album, and they wanted more songs on the album, and eventually Ken Hensley got frustrated and left after the tour was done, and the entire band except for Mick Box kind of imploded after the Conquest tour. But Conquest is just not a good album. I love the album cover with the the whole take on the Mount Suribachi raising of the flag during World War II, but it's just not a really great album. Number 2, Celtic Frost. Now, I'm not that much of like a black metal person, but I do have a huge amount of respect for Celtic Frost. Cold Lake is not a good album. It's very commercial sounding. It's seen by some as an attempt to cash in on the whole glam metal scene of LA at the time, and Tom Warrior, if you even ask him nowadays, doesn't think it's that good of an album. It's not produced well. There's a couple good songs on there that are fun, but really it's just not a good album. Another one, Green Day, The Trilogy. What the hell, man? This is just not good. Very forgettable songs. There are a few songs off those albums that I think are really strong, but as a whole, just if it was condensed down to one album, it would have been pretty good. But man, just a lot of filler on that. The Green Day Trilogy, just not good. Not good at all. Another one, I actually like this album better than a lot of people do. Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Love Beach from 1978. It's not a bad album, but the mainstream opinion is that it is a sucky album. And I can see why, because it is really ELP light. It's them kind of going very commercial, and they kind of did a bit of that on the Works Volume 2 album, but for the most part, it is ELP light. The Memoirs of a Gentleman, the whole song that takes up side 2, I think is really strong. And I think I don't think that there's a bad song. There's a song that I don't dislike on the album, but I'm just throwing it out there because the mainstream consensus is that this is ELP's worst album. And I can totally see why, even though I enjoy it quite a bit. And I guess number 5 to finish it off is Led Zeppelin. Not Led Zeppelin. Black Sabbath, Forbidden from 1995. The last one with Tony Martin on vocals. Yeah, Forbidden's just not a good album. Very shoddily produced. Ice-T singing on the Illusion of Power, which is just a really bad song. Cozy Powell is on it. One of his last albums that he ever put out before he died. Tony Iommi's guitar tone is pretty good, but other than that, Forbidden is just not good. Not a good album, and a very forgettable album. But anyway, those are kind of my 5 stinker albums by bands that I like, so I could do a part 2 to this, but thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.